Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer, and welcome back to PCM23 Lions. This is episode number 6. We're into our second season, and I really want to bring that sponsor confidence up this year, but I don't know how difficult it's going to be until we get going. Potentially, we're looking at 8 key sponsor objectives to make that happen. Now, my goal is not 100% evaluation for the year. I think it's just to get at least some sort of increase financially for next season. We've got a better team. We've got a better team on paper that could help us get some results. We also, not just on paper, but in terms of the objectives, that's all we had last year, results. The registered riders, nobody was known. We ended up getting a few noteworthy results over the course of the season, but no one was known. The squad evaluation was terrible. Having signed Ryan Gibbons with a South African sponsor, they're now quite happy. Well, quite happy. They are quite adequate with our squad. Sad comparison, right? Full evaluation, everything they want, and yet we still only have a partial. However, we're not talking about world-class guys. We're just talking about, hey, we ticked off a few boxes. It's better. It's better. If we can do better here, we've got a chance of getting that full evaluation. So the greater focus on trying to get things right, I have my A team, my best guys, focused on 3 key races of the highest importance to the sponsors. But the gap in between for these other 2 races that I've decided to also key in on, it's too close together. It doesn't fit the timeline to naturally get another objective in. And therefore our weaker, our B team riders, some of our young prospects, have 2 intermediate races that are slightly close together, but it's better to have something than nothing, and it's their only 2 objectives. So it keeps the schedule fairly clean and consistent for the group. Season 1 has scored a bonus. So I told you before at the beginning that you have popularity and you have a training structure. Popularity comes down to winning races, and as you move up in popularity, winning key races. The higher the popularity of a nation, the higher the profile of race that must be won by a rider of that nation in order to produce a boost. So if you have a popularity of 1, winning almost any race will see that popularity increase to a 2. I don't know what the actual bottom threshold is on that, but it's the lowest, obviously. The training structure is cumulative over the course of a season, but it's not the nation as a whole, which is a little odd. It's about an individual rider. An individual rider well placed in the overall standings, the individual standings, at the end of a season. And again, this is relative to your nation's training structure in the first place. The lower it is, the less high the rank needs to be to trigger a boost in training structure. And we've done it. Season 1, right off the bat, Eritrea. We have boosted the training structure of Eritrea. And here is our confirmation of that training structure in Eritrea, boosting from a 3 to a 4. Popularity already at a 6. Now, of course, going back, just brief description here for those that are still new to the game, maybe forgot it from last time. But the popularity determines how many riders are showing up in the database. The higher the number, the more riders from that nation that will appear yearly in the database. The training structure determines the quality of those riders. So a 9-1, which I think China has something like that, a 9-1 means there's going to be lots and lots of riders showing up every year, but of the lowest quality. A 1-1 means it's going to be incredibly rare to even see a rider show up, and that rider is going to be of a very low quality. Boosting a 1-1 is going to be tricky. If we succeed with this, my mission next time has to be just taking the 1-1s, all of them across the world, and just trying to succeed anywhere, like anywhere, anyway, anyhow. oh man, is that going to be a tough challenge. But this challenge is so fun. So we'll see. We have to succeed first. And while we might have been doing really well with Asia, we were far from having accomplished. Here, I can see Eritrea, I can see South Africa becoming quite dominant. It's getting other nations besides those two to give us a deeper pool to also be successful. And here's our first and brief look at the squad before we get to racing this season. First thing I want to look at is age, because normally I'm taking the youngest riders and developing and building those prospects and then trying to hang on to them as long as we can afford to hang on to them before the bigger teams come and sweep them away. And as we're not increasing our payroll capabilities at the time being, that is still going to be an important factor for a long while yet. But ageism, I do suffer from ageism in this game. I quickly try to move on to the younger guys. I want riders getting better, not getting worse. But anyway, 29, 29, 30, 26, and 30. So right now we have 5 elder statesmen on the squad, including our 2 leaders. But that means the hope at the moment lies in Zerai, primarily, as our young prospect who's already up and coming and developed rapidly last year, and I expect some of these other guys to do a similar thing. Arafane, Gabrehivet, I'm going to be shortening that down for sure. They are the next 2. That's your top 3 waiting, but there's 3 18-year-olds, hot prospects that we just picked up out of scouting, and we could see all 3 of them overtaking any number of these guys, even in just one season. You can see that happening rapidly. Now, of course, it's the attributes that matter most. I'm not going to go chart by chart, but you can see Kudos is easily the best climber right now. He's the first guy that we've had more than low 60s. Zerai has climbed rapidly. He's now a 70, 66, 69, so his medium mountain feels like it might be broken, and I'm hoping that's not the case. Could be a database situation. And then, of course, on the sprint side, Gibbons. First guy coming in when we had nothing but low 60s. Arafane, with that 68, 69 for him as a sprinter. Is this a new signing for me also? I'm trying to remember. Was he on our team last year? He was not. Okay, this is another new signing. So I do have a lead-out rider for Gibbons, which is awesome. Sadly, the only change in our evolution of potentials was Osman dropping from a 4-star to a 3-star prospect, but he still has a good look when it comes to his climbing and punch capabilities. Let's hope he can still reach that potential. I think that would be better than 3 stars anyway. Final 10K of the first stage of our first objective, the Tour of Saudi, and for this tour and the next tour, our first 2 objectives are stage win ones, the hardest ones to achieve. Of course, we did pull off 2 surprise victories a year ago, but we're a team not likely to properly compete in something like a sprint. So with 7K to go and the breakaway done, this is going to be it. Abdia was involved in a crash just a moment ago. Good thing he was only a lead-out rider and not a key guy for us, but with 5.4K to go, we'll gel up for everyone. Little bit of undulation on this one sets it up. Kudos, who's our best climber, and the Eritrean national champion with 3K to go, leading us out for the time being. Mansouri, 2.5 is going to start the sprint. Arafane gets us to 1.8. It's a little early for sprinting, but here we are getting into the final kilometer, and Gibbons holding out actually really well with his lead out. But now he's got 6 guys already out in front of him, having started their sprint, plus 1 more who's gone really early, but you can see he's fading. Gibbons, unlike last season, good news here is Gibbons has not been blown away by the sprinters like a year ago. But you can also see that he is completely incapable of beating Matthew Vanderpool, or Pascal Ackerman, Sam Bennett, who only grabbed 5th. So Gibbons in 13th is making us go, way, we were squeezing out some top 10s last year. He can't even get that. Well, why? Because we weren't even at the front. We couldn't get to the front on this sprint train. We had too many teams that were too strong. So Our lead out is better. The good news here is Gibbons can ultimately give his all because his lead out guys are not very fast, and he's capable of holding their wheel easily enough. Let's just hope that they can put us in a better spot one of these days. Final 10K of stage number 2 as we just now go into the banner and are just now catching the breakaway group, now at 9.5K to go. The last of them trying to do something. Zerai using up the last of his energy before we pass him off. Mansuri just involved in a crash. Second stage in a row. We've lost one rider just before the final kilometers. Abdia now in control. 7.3K. We'll see if we can get a better lead out this time. Last time our flat ratings just were not enough. However, this is not like last season. 5K, gel up. Kudos is still not out here. 3.9, still not out here. Let's go. 3K to go. 2.7. 2.3, starting his sprint. 2.1, Arafane has very little in the tank, but he is going to get us out there a little bit. Gibbons is going to have to go earlier than I want. He's going to have to really go earlier than I want. I'm okay if we crack like top 3 or something. And how the heck was Vanderpool way out there like that? Vanderpool's going to finish 4th. I never saw him go off the front. I never saw an escape, but he was way out there by his lonesome. Gibbons couldn't quite hang on to the finish line and did fade in the final 30 meters. But our problem last year, okay, we had no sprint capability even in weaker races where we didn't have Vanderpools and Ackermans involved. We still got swarmed at the end. It was about trying to just hang on for top 10s because I knew we couldn't actually win sprints. Those 2 stages we won were not sprints. Those were not standard sprints. The standard sprint was something we stood no chance in. Here, well, things haven't changed much, but they have changed some. We've got a better lead out, but it's still not good. And Gibbons is certainly faster. 10 points better than what we had a year ago. These are better sprinters he's going up against also than what we raced in the races we raced last year. And we won't be racing Matthew Vanderpool in every race. So the competition will be weaker. He will be more competitive. But on a stage like this, he's not getting blown away, but what he's not doing is out sprinting anyone. At best, he can hold. He also doesn't have great stamina, so he can't hold for long, and that was a problem here. He went at the same time as 4 other guys. They continued their sprint all the way across the line. He didn't quite make it. So I'm going to have to start his sprints a little later, but the problem with doing that is means those guys are going to sprint when they sprint, and they're going to leave him behind a little bit. We're going to have a hard time getting some wins with Gibbons. However, like I said, we're not going to face this opposition normally. This is a slightly too high profile of a race for him. We're done trying to squeeze out a sprint when it's not going to happen. He had better race day condition. He had a little bonus this time, and still, he easily got a top 10, and that's going to be a good thing this year when we need those top 10s. But he's not going to win a proper sprint. I wrap up our first episode as we've reached the end of January, and there's still going to be a stage or 2 left to try to get something in the Saudi tour, though we're not going to try the sprints. Here we have Ishimwe. Ishimwe was one of those prospects we brought in and ended up being the last one that we signed. The 4.5 star guy. He's already leveled up. Middle of January, and he already leveled up. That's insanely fast. That's fantastic. He's now a 2.5 star of a 4.5 potential. And you can see that stage racing, punch capability, even the cobble rating, the time trialing is all going to be better than almost anything else we have. Ishimwe is somebody we will want to hang on as long as possible and hope that we can afford him in a couple of years, which I'm guessing we probably won't, but at least he'll go off to another team and hopefully find some success. And especially as a Rwandan, I don't know exactly what their rating is, but it's not on the high end. Stage 4, and it's a punchy stage on paper, and a lot of the teams are going to try for the punchers. But there's 9.5K to go, and it's only one climb. So Mansuri is getting us out front. Zerai is supposed to be chasing, and all I'm worried about here is not getting dropped. So for the moment, Zerai is slowly closing that gap on Mansuri, and Gabrayevet is waiting in the wings to take off for us. 10K left to go on the stage. The climb itself is 3.5K, 10.7% average gradient. It started shallow, it gets really steep, but then it eases off again at the top, and you're starting to get a couple teams kind of making a push here. So Zerai does actually have a little something left here, so he'll at least get up beside Mansuri, and I think we'll try a 96. 1.5K to go to the top. We don't need to do anything with this climb other than remain in a decent position to try to set up a sprint. Breakaway, which was still away, is gone. See if these guys can get on still. But we're still very much in contention right now. 8.5 kilometers to go overall on the stage. Nobody is breaking away. Oh yeah, the sprint is on, folks. The sprint is on, and we protected our sprinters further down the line. Now, right now, they have no red bar whatsoever. We'll see how long we can hold. As much as it looks like we're going up right now, we are going slightly downhill. There's the finish, just a long, slow left-hander. 5K, so gel up for these guys. These guys are just going to set off 4.7. Here we go. Arafane, Gibbons, not a lot left. We have to sprint late with them. But let's hope that the other teams and their sprinters, I mean, we're at the front for a change. We are at the front. 2.6K. 2.3. Abdia sprinting. Kudos. Looking great and giving us a really good lead out. Arafane. And Gibbons. Come on, Gibbons. Come on, Gibbons. Yes. We have done it. We have gotten a stage victory. Vanderpool comes second, but Arafane and Kudos are third and fourth. Whoo, buddy. Slight split there. I don't know if they're going to count it. It is considered a punchy stage, but Gibbons and Arafane didn't have anything left at the top, but because they were still far enough down the line, they got that little bit of recovery, and Kudos wasn't there for the sprint, but he still did enough for us otherwise. Rwanda is a 6-2 right now. So popularity is okay, but that training structure of just 2 means you're not going to find many riders better. So we've got a good one there, and he absolutely has the capability of bringing that training structure up a point or two himself, bring it up to a 3, bring it up to a 4, till better riders emerge. Likewise, South Africa might not have a ton of riders coming in, but they do have better quality. And that's a good start point. That's an easier start point than a 6-2 is. That is going to do it for this episode, though. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there, and bye for now.